What I'm looking at here is I'm going to do a sloped rope entry. This would be useful if you had an obstacle at the tree, maybe a bunch of poison ivy down at the base and you just don't want to get into it, or maybe there's a creek you can't get across. Or how much tension do I want in my rope? Well, not a lot. Just pull the slack out and adjust it, and I kind of get my two prusiks balanced a little bit. What I want to point out here is it doesn't have to be a really tight line. All it has to be is enough to keep you from dragging the ground. The tighter the rope is, the more stress you're going to put on everything. This is my setup to do a sloped rope or even a loose rope traverse. It's pretty simple really, but it's pretty specialized at the same time. Climbing a sloped rope introduces some different types of problems than climbing a rope that's vertical. My saddle, of course, would be attached by this carabiner, and the first thing of significance we see then is a swivel. That swivel is very important. If I don't have the swivel and I try to move around and reposition, I'm going to put a twist in this pulley, and you can see that can cause the rope to rub against the side plates. It can cause the rope to rub against the shoulders of the sheave, and what that would do, if that happens very much, it would sharpen the edge of that pulley. It is very important, in order to have good stroke efficiency, to have minimum distances from here to here and from here to here. Beyond that doesn't much matter, and beyond this, of course, doesn't matter at all. The reason we have to have that minimized distances is we're sitting in a saddle hanging from this carabiner down here, and our arm's only going to come up here and reach so far. Well, that's the limit of our stroke. So if I've got too much stuff in here so that I have a very short stroke, and if I pull my foot loop and I don't get much stroke, I'm going to spend a lot of time doing little bitty short strokes. The purpose of this pulley, if I were on a vertical rope, I don't need the pulley at all because I'm pulling parallel to the rope. On a sloped rope, that's not the case. Without the pulley in place here, this carabiner would be pulling down on this ascender in a bad angle, very bad. It would cause the cam to do some bad stuff. So the pulley takes the vertical force of your weight. It's holding your weight. The only thing the ascender is used for is to capture progress as you move up the rope. I have this fixie pulley attached in a unusual way. I came up with this when I wanted to do a minimized rad system, and I just transferred that technique of attachment to this system, and it works really good. It minimizes everything. If you hook this up the way we normally would, we'd have the pulley back here and a carabiner around here or a screw link, and the pulley'd be sitting back here, and guess what? We now have more stuff in our space, so we just shortened our stroke length. So that's a very efficient way to set that up. This space needs to be minimized too. If it were long, a handled ascender say, and you really can't do this on a handled ascender, we just shortened our stroke length by that much because we're still sitting back here. You could talk about turning that ascender over and hooking in the top hole, and you'd find that doesn't work real well either. The upper ascender really is a way to pull this ascender up the rope. If you just reach up on the rope and grab it and try to pull yourself up, you'll find it pulls like this because you're hanging down here. So you got some weird angle stuff going on that doesn't pull the pulley up the rope. It tries to pull it through the rope, and it's inefficient. This is set up, and again I have a fixie pulley. So when I pull on my foot loop, it pulls this carabiner straight up parallel with the rope, and you can see what a nice parallel thing that does. Even if I pull my foot loops straight down, I'm still pulling this straight up the rope, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to hook up here, and I could tighten my rope a little, but I think I'm just going to go with the way it is. If I'm off the ground, and I am, that'll be good enough. I'm going to put the foot loop on and get started. almost got my foot loop too long. At this point, I am basically climbing a vertical rope. The pulley on the foot loop gives me a 2-to-1 on my foot, and that really makes it easy to get up the vertical part of the rope. And here we are. Just a mention of what I'm doing up here. I'm tied in. This is a directional figure 8. The reason I'm using that, I'm going to use this rope in just a minute as my brake line. I'll take this stuff off, leave the pulley on. In fact, I'll just lock this cam out, and I'll go sailing down the rope with a Petzl Piranha, kind of a special figure 8, and that's the fun part, getting to go down. Now, what you're going to see here, you'll notice how much slack I have in that rope. Well, when I start loading this side of the rope, this rope will start unloading, and my tie point's going to start sliding down. That's okay. It just makes me work more till the force on this rope equals the force on this rope, and then I'm stable. So I'll go ahead and hook that up. Now let's give that a shot. Yeah, that's better. I just have to keep working this down. In just a minute, you'll see that start to pull away from the tree as I go down. There it goes. And I have to keep working these two until I get that balanced out. Now, if I were going on up the tree, that would be a non-thing, but of course I want to do the ride back down the tree, so I have to take all the slack out of the rope before I can go down. And you can see it's considerable, but again, I used a very loose rope, so I knew this was going to happen. We're about to balance out now, off first. So one of the advantages of using this, it's easy to disconnect. And this one's a little more difficult because I got some clearance problems there, but I do have it. And actually that's all I have to do right there. And I'm ready to rappel down. So here we go. This will be a good ride. The fun part.